میهن بلاکچین.
Damianos asks, is Bitcoin anonymous? All exchanges and wallets ask for identity. Is Bitcoin an anonymous system? Well, first of all, and this is really important to understand, exchanges may ask for you to prove your identity. That is not Bitcoin. Those are third-party services that operate as banks, allowing you to exchange national currency, and it's because they are exchanging national currency that they are obligated under the laws as third-party companies to ask you for your identity. Your identity is not on the blockchain, and this has nothing to do with Bitcoin. If you install a wallet of your own where you control the keys, there is no identity required. You don't identify yourself to anyone. And therefore, from that respect, there is no link between your identity and, say, the Bitcoin address or the wallet that you installed. So when your wallet generates a private key of its own and then generates a Bitcoin address or several Bitcoin addresses that you can use in your wallet, there's no link between that and your identity. There's no link between that and your IP address and your location and your name and any other identifying information. However, if you use that Bitcoin address in relation to an external service, such as an exchange or a merchant, where you then provide your name, address, and things like that, that external service will link the Bitcoin address that you just provided to your real life identity. As a result, you've just blown the anonymity aspect of Bitcoin. Furthermore, because you will then use that Bitcoin address in your wallet to make transactions, if your identity has been linked to one Bitcoin address and then other Bitcoin addresses are linked to that Bitcoin address due to the activities that you do, for example, transferring money between addresses of your own wallet, using multiple chunks of Bitcoin, we'll talk about that in a subsequent lesson when we talk about UTXO in the blockchain. When you link together and you leave this statistical trail that correlates very many different Bitcoin addresses together, and one of them is connected to your real-life identity, then the others are also connected, probabilistically, statistically connected to your real-life identity. In practice, it is very, very difficult to use Bitcoin with complete anonymity unless you take relatively strong steps to protect your operational security. You never link any of the addresses you've used to your real identity. And in practice, that's very difficult to do. It takes a lot of effort, and most people don't do it. If you acquire your Bitcoin by exchanging national currency through an exchange where you've provided your ID, obviously that's going to statistically taint all other Bitcoin transactions you do from that point on and correlate them with that identity. And all of these exchanges provide this information either willingly or inadvertently. If they get hacked or if they're already hacked by intelligence agencies, they provide that information effectively to everyone in the world. So if you give your identity to one of these exchanges, you should assume that everyone in the world then has that information. From a security perspective, you should assume that it's already leaked. So given all of that, Bitcoin is not strongly anonymous. It is pseudonymous, meaning that you use a pseudo identity, which is your Bitcoin address and the related Bitcoin addresses on the system. And that gives you some degree of anonymity as long as that Bitcoin address is not associated with your real life identity. There are other blockchain systems that provide stronger levels of anonymity, whereby it is impossible to track which transactions are being made by which addresses. Whereas in Bitcoin, anyone can look at an address and see all of the transactions it's made and can see how much money it has, etc., etc. There are other blockchains where that's not the case, where you cannot track which address is making which transactions. So Bitcoin is a pseudonymous system, and if you use it by connecting primarily to exchanges and merchants that have your identity, then it is not even a pseudonymous system. In fact, it is a public transaction system where your identity is known.
میهن بلاکچین